Hi everyone. In today's session, we'll see the synchronous motor drives. So there are two types of synchronous motors. One is wound field synchronous motor, another one is permanent magnet synchronous motor drive. So generally, this wound field synchronous motor drive is used for very high power applications in megawatt range, whereas permanent magnet synchronous motors are used in low and medium power applications in kilowatt ranges. Coming to the wound field synchronous motor drives, there are based on the rotor type. This classification has done. So based on the rotors means the rotor types are one is cylindrical rotor, another one is salient pole rotor type in the wound field synchronous motor drives. So coming to the cylindrical rotors synchronous motor drive, the rotor is in the cylindrical shape and the windings are placed on both sides of the rotor. So let us assume this is dot convention, that means current is coming out and current is entering from this side. So if current is entering from this side and current is leaving from this side, then the corresponding field is upward direction. As per the thumb rule, the current, as per the thumb rule, if you see, the field direction is upward. And in the cylindrical rotor synchronous motor drive, the air gap is uniform because of the rotor is in cylindrical shape, and the field produced is also uniform because here, as because this is cylindrical rotor, these rotors or these drives are used in high speed application because there is no mechanical instability in the cylindrical rotor. So this is all about the cylindrical rotor briefly. And if we see the salient pole rotor type, the salient pole rotor is in a cylinder shape. Here it is projecting little outside at the both edges, and the winding is placed on the rotor, and if current is flowing in the if direction, then the field will be in the upward direction here also. As this is not uniform cylindrical uniform rotor type, the air gap is also non uniform, or the air gap is not uniform. As in the cylindrical rotor, if you see, rotor is uniform, that's why air gap is uniform. But here in the salient pole rotor, rotor is non uniform, that's why air gap is also non uniform. Here field is produced by the windings. In the wound field synchronous motor, the corresponding field is produced by the windings. Because of the current flowing through the windings, the field is producing based on the thumb rule. And the salient pole rotors are used for the low speed applications because of its structure. It may become unstable for the high speed application, that's why mechanically it will become unstable, that's why it is used for the lower speed applications. In the wound field synchronous motor, the field is produced by the current flowing through the windings. If we replace that field with the permanent magnets, then that will become the permanent magnet synchronous motors. These permanent magnet synchronous motors are used in low and medium power applications because if you are going for higher power applications, the size of the motor will increase because of the magnet size. We need to increase the magnet size. Permanent magnets need to be replaced with the windings, right? One of the advantage here in the wound field synchronous motor is your field is produced by the only coils. We can go for high power application, but in the permanent magnet synchronous motor, if you want to go for high power applications, we need to increase the magnet size to produce a respective field. That's why it is used for the low and medium power applications, generally in kilowatt ranges only. So here in permanent magnet synchronous motor, again this is classified as surface mount permanent magnet synchronous motor drive. So in this surface mount synchronous motor type, one is projecting type. If you are keeping the permanent magnets on the rotors are cylindrical shape here, but the magnets placed on the rotor are projecting type nature, then that is called the projecting type permanent magnet synchronous motor rotor. So here this cylindrical shape is nothing but rotor. On the rotor, these hatched portions are nothing but permanent magnets. So 4 permanent magnets are placed. The corresponding north, and south poles are placed here. The opposite sides of the permanent magnets will have other pole, right? If it is north pole means south pole, if it is south pole means north pole means south pole, and south pole means north pole, because permanent magnets are not with single pole. It will obviously have two poles, north pole and south pole. So this is called the projecting type. As magnets are projecting outside the rotor, the name came as projecting type. And this is inset type permanent magnet synchronous motor rotor. On the rotor surface, below the rotor surface or inside the rotor surface, in attached with the rotor surface, the magnets are placed. These hatched portions are nothing but permanent magnets. It is placed near to the surface. It is inside the rotor. So north pole again, south pole, north pole, south pole, like in the projecting type. Here we are keeping inside the rotor, here outside the rotor. We are projecting outside the rotor, here we are projecting inside the rotor. So that's why it is called insert type rotor. The another one is interior permanent magnet synchronous motor. In the interior permanent magnet synchronous motor, the magnets are placed a little away inside the rotor. So here magnets again, north pole, south pole, north pole, south pole are placed placed inside the rotor. That's why it is called the interior permanent magnet synchronous motor. If you see here, this is having more stable because the magnets are kept inside the rotor and it is little away from the rotor surface. And that's why this type of permanent magnet synchronous motor rotors are most popular in electric vehicle applications. This will have more stable, this is more stable construction. And if we see here, the field is going out from the north pole and it need to enter into the south pole. Here this is south, again this is north and south, right? So if you see here, between one permanent magnet to another permanent magnet, there are strips, non-magnetic strips are placed. These are called the non-magnetic strips to avoid the flow of field between the one magnet to other magnet directly. So the magnet field need to be flow in the dotted path only. For that, we are placing the non-magnetic strips between the two magnets, each two magnets. Okay. So again here also from north pole field will be coming out and it will enter into the south pole. North pole field will coming out and it will enter into the south pole. North pole field is coming out and it is entering into the south pole. In this way, the permanent magnet synchronous motor rotor interior type rotor is designed. Okay, this is all about the construction of the permanent magnet synchronous motor. If you see the basic equations like cylindrical rotor, wound field synchronous motor, the corresponding equations, performance equations are like this. So if by neglecting the stator losses, if you draw the equivalent circuit per phase, it is shown in this figure. This is the equivalent circuit per phase by neglecting the stator losses, because here we have considered only Jxs as a reactance only. This is the supplied voltage V at an angle 0 degrees and the corresponding current is Is and the corresponding induced field is E. All these are vectors and this is P input and this is P output and E at an angle minus delta, because as this is motor, the angle between the V and E is called the torque angle. The corresponding angle is always lags, or E always lags V by at an angle delta. That's why E is equal to E at an angle minus delta. If your V is at and phase angle of 0 degrees, then the corresponding del is lag by the V. The corresponding E is lag by the V at an angle delta. That's what here we have given. Here it is E is equal to E at an angle minus delta. So now what is the P input power? P input power is equal to P output, right? So first we will try to find out the P input. What is P input? P input is equal to 3 into, if it is single phase means V is cos theta, where theta is theta is the angle between the V and IS. If it is 3-phase power means 3 into VIS cos theta, which is equal to the mechanical power, because we are neglecting the losses. So if you apply the KVL to this loop, what is V? V is equal to sum of these two drops. V is equal to J into ISXS, J into ISXS plus E. That will give the V. And from this, by rewriting this equation, E is equal to V minus J into ISXS. We will get it. And from this equation, I can find out the current. What is IS? IS is equal to V minus E by JXS. What is V? V is equal, if V is V at an angle 0 degrees, then E will become E at an angle minus delta, because always your induced field is lags by the supply voltage. That's why we are keeping V at an angle 0 degrees means, then we need to replace the E is equal to E at an angle minus delta by JXS. So from this, V by XS, if you are converting this J into the angle 1 by J, right, that will become the minus delta minus E by XS. Already this minus delta is there, that J will become minus pi by 2, then it will become minus of del plus pi by 2. So by observing this equation, we can take only a real component, that is nothing but IS cos theta. IS cos theta is nothing but the real component of the total IS current or stator current. So if you take that current, real component of the current, before that, if you see the phasor diagram, let us assume your V is at an angle, V at an angle 0 degrees means this is the line. So V bar or V at an angle 0 degrees, this is the reference line, rotor axis. And now your current is lag V by IS means your current is this one. That angle is corresponding angle between the V and IS is nothing but theta. And the perpendicular to this current, there should be the drop, the reactance drop, because E is equal to V minus J into ISXS, right? So minus IXX minus J into XS, minus J into ISXS should be added with the V, then only we will get the E component. So to get that one, V already we have. Then what is the component minus JXS component? You will get it from perpendicular to that IS current, then minus J into ISXS. So V minus or V is equal to E plus J into ISXS, or E is equal to V minus J into ISXS. So that is the phasor. So from here we can take only real component. The real component of IS is nothing but, in both the terms we need to apply only cos term. So V by XS into cos pi by 2 minus E by XS into cos del plus pi by 2. So his cos pi by 2 is equal to 0, cos del plus pi by 2 will give the sin delta minus sin delta. So minus and minus will be get cancelled. So E by XS into sin delta is the remaining term as the IS cos theta. So substitute this IS cos theta in the power equation, then we will get P in. P in is equal to P mechanical power. Mechanical power is equal to now 3 VIS cos theta. This IS cos theta is replaced with the E by XS into sin delta, E by XS into sin delta. Then it will become 3 VE by XS into sin delta. So as this is a synchronous motor, it is running with the constant frequency. Your rotor and stator both are running with the stator field are running with the same speed. So your slip will become 0. So that's why your rotor speed is equal to the synchronous speed. Omega m is equal to omega ms. With this assumption, omega m is equal to omega ms, because slip is equal to 0 in the synchronous motor. What is the torque equation here? Torque T is equal to mechanical power output by speed, Pm by omega m, Pm by omega m. So already we know the mechanical power output, that is 3 VE by XS into sin delta. 3 EV by XS into sin delta is divided by omega m, which is equal to the synchronous speed. That's why omega m is replaced with the omega ms. Here del is nothing but the torque angle. So now finally your torque equation T is equal 3 EV by omega ms into xs into sine delta. So here if you draw the speed torque characteristics, or first before drawing to the before going for the speed torque characteristics, first we'll see that. So as this your synchronous motor, let us assume this is your synchronous motor, it is running with the supply voltage and constant frequency, constant voltage and constant frequency. The corresponding field is Vf and the corresponding field current is If. So we need to adjust here, all supply voltage is constant, frequency is constant. In this equation if you see, your supply voltage is constant and frequency, which is omega ms, is constant, and the induced EMF is constant because DC voltage will keep it in the field. So induced voltage is constant. Anyway, this is reactance, and in this again frequency is also constant, only del is variable. So your torque is directly proportional to the del here. Torque is directly proportional to the del. If you draw the characteristics between the torque and torque angle, your torque versus torque angle, because torque is varying with respect to the del only. So as del is varying from 0 to 180 degrees, it is obviously your torque is increasing, it will follow the sine shape, and your maximum torque is at pi by 2. Your maximum torque angle is at pi by 2. The corresponding torque is T maximum. In the first quadrant we'll get the motoring characteristics. If you see here, as your load angle or torque angle is increasing, your torque is increasing. This is a stable region. Whereas from pi by 2 to pi by, as your load angle is increasing, your torque is decreasing. That's why this is unstable region. To get the braking characteristics, we need to run the motor in the generating mode. So braking characteristics means we need to go for negative torque. To get the negative torque, we need to increase the torque angle in the reverse direction. That is nothing but minus pi by 2 to minus pi. In the similar way, in the first quadrant, we will get the characteristics in the fourth quadrant also, because torque is going in the negative direction means your torque will increase till minus pi by 2. The corresponding torque angle is, the corresponding torque is nothing but minus T max, and till this point it is in the stable region. After that it is unstable region from pi by 2 to pi by pi. So the corresponding characteristics are braking characteristics. Now from minus pi by 2 to pi by 2 only, the synchronous motor is operating in the stable region. From 0 to pi by 2 region is called the stable region in the motoring mode. From 0 to minus pi by 2 is called the stable operating region in the braking mode. And the torque is also varying between the minus T max to or plus T max to minus T max when we are varying the firing angle, when we are varying the torque angle between the pi by 2 to pi minus pi by 2. So this is all about the torque load characteristic, torque load angle characteristics, because we need to know this torque load characteristics, because by varying this load angle only or torque angle only, we are going to get the various torque characteristics. Earlier in the induction motor, by varying the frequency, we can get the variable speed torque characteristics. But here we need to vary the load angle or torque angle. So before that, how your synchronous motor will operate under various power factors, that we'll see, then we can go for the speed torque characteristics. So synchronous motor works under various power factors, like if it is operating under the lagging power factor means, let us assume this is the reference line. On the reference line your supply voltage is supply voltage V at an angle 0 degrees, V bar is equal V at an angle 0 degrees, and as this is lagging power factor, your current is lagged by the supply voltage with angle theta. Now perpendicular to this current, we need to keep the reactance component, that is minus J into ISXS. So this is your V, and minus J into ISXS, that will give the reactance component. By joining these two lines, these two dots, we will get the E component. your E is always lags behind the voltage. So your E is equal to V minus J XS. E is equal to V minus J into ISXS. So our lagging power factor means current lags. Even though current lags, you are getting the your EMF, induced EMF lags the supply voltage V by an angle delta. If it is unity power factor means across along with the supply voltage your current need to be placed. That's why your corresponding power factor angle is 0 degrees. Then the corresponding reactance component is minus J IS into XS. Here also we will get the E is equal to V minus J into IS XS. The corresponding torque angle is del only, but that may vary. By varying the load torque angle, we are going to get the different torque characteristics, right? That's why when you are operating the synchronous motor at lagging power factor, you are getting one type of load torque angle. At unity power factor, the load torque angle is different. At leading power factor, this is your supply voltage and current leads the supply voltage by V IS at an angle theta. Now the corresponding perpendicular reactance, that is nothing but minus J ISXS. So now E is equal to V minus J ISXS will give the E term. So again here induced EMF lags the supply voltage by del. So if you observe here at lagging power factor, your synchronous motor is operating under, so here we are operating the synchronous motor with less induced EMF. Here moderate induced EMF, here more induced EMF. Based on this under excitation, moderate excitation, over excitation, your del angle is varying. Under excitation, the synchronous motor is operating with lagging power factor. At unity power factor, synchronous motor are at moderate excitation, the synchronous motor is operating at unity power factor. And at over excitation, the synchronous motor is operating at leading power factor. For under excitation, moderate excitation, over excitation means by changing the excitation, we can change the del angle, so that your speed torque characteristics of the synchronous motor will change. How means, if you see here, speed torque characteristics of the synchronous motor, torque T is equal to Pm by omega m. From that we got the equation as 3 EV by XS into here omega ms, as this is torque, omega ms into sine delta, power by omega ms. Here motor is supplied from a fixed frequency. That's why when it is supplied from a fixed frequency, on the speed torque characteristics you will see, speed is on the y-axis, torque is on the x-axis. Your speed is constant because it is supplied from the fixed frequency, means your supply speed is constant. Omega ms is constant. That's why this is your omega ms. At there only you will get the speed torque characteristics. Speed versus torque characteristics. In the first quadrant, if you see, first quadrant characteristics are positive torque will get for the del angle positive, right? So when you are getting the maximum torque at del is equal to plus pi by 2 will get the maximum torque, at del is equal to minus pi by 2 will get the maximum negative torque. By changing the torque angle, your torque can be increased, but your speed is constant, because this is constant speed drive. In the motoring mode, by varying the load angle from 0 to pi by 2 will get the motoring characteristics. By varying the load angle or torque angle from 0 to minus pi by 2 will get the braking characteristics. So this is speed torque characteristics. If you see, if you observe torque versus load angle characteristics, by varying the 0 to pi by 2 your torque is increasing, right? By varying from 0 to minus pi by 2 your torque is varying in the negative direction. So that is torque versus load angle. Here we have drawn the characteristics for speed versus torque. In the positive direction, to change the torque we need to increase the load angle from 0 to pi by 2. In the negative direction it should be 0 to minus pi by 2. The maximum Limits are minus T max to plus T max at minus pi by 2 and plus pi by 2 of the torque angle. What about the speed? Speed is always constant, both in motoring as well as the braking. So this is all about the speed torque characteristics of the synchronous motor. In the next session, we'll see the variable speed synchronous motor drive. This is fixed frequency or fixed speed synchronous motor drive. Thank you all.